books a show off of a fundraiser, the organization gets an additional $3. Because remember, your organization chairperson, I guess is what we call it, they don't get the host benefits, but they do get that monthly special. So you want to remember that. But they also have that, you know, if what I do, like when I had a fundraiser right around the state fair, I put all of my bookings from the state fair onto that show, so they would get those extra bookings. I mean, it's only $3 a show, but it does add up. I think I had 17 bookings between that time frame, and so I just added them all onto that show. But I think you also have it on your flyer too, Marianne, don't you, at the bottom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
One thing that I do with my fundraisers is I offer, Pampered Chef gives the $3, but then I also offer $3 because I've noticed that it's hard to get them to book shows.
Yeah.
So, and I put it in a big sticker, you know, that, you know, if you book a show, you know, I'm going to donate $6 to this fundraiser. And so that's only $3. I'm going to make a lot more commission than $3, you know, I hope. So that's something that I do to help me get more bookings from my fundraisers. But then also, you have to call all those people. You know, I call them and I thank them and then see if they might want to book a show. So that helps too.
We're just running out of time. We've gone over 5 minutes. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does it matter which time of the school year that you do a fundraiser? Have you seen
For
a
the
difference,
schools?
like before Christmas, after
When you're doing it in the
Christmas, any of that?
schools? They're typically bigger right before Christmas, that October, November, which is why I give $25,000 in November, because they have big fundraisers. But I've had very successful fundraisers other times of year. My first one that I did when I was like, okay, I gotta get some fundraisers going, it was February, middle of the month. I had nothing on my calendar, and it was double points month, and I wanted to earn the trip. I don't even remember what the trip was that year, but it might have been Disney the first time. But I wanted to earn that trip, and I had nothing on my calendar. It was double points. I mean, I'm getting 2 for the price of 1, and I'm doing nothing. So, like, I gotta do something. So I called my friend who's a music teacher at Teela Middle School, and his wife sells Mary Kate. And so he knows how the business stuff works, right? So I just called him up, and I said, hey, Charlie, I need you to do me a favor. I said, can you help me out here? I'm trying to get some sales in before the end of the month. It's worth more to me for earning this trip. I mean, I told him all of that, you know, he's a friend. Said, and if you do this, and you get it all done before the end of February, I will I'll match Pampered Chef's 15 and give you 15 more. And so you'll get 30% from it. And I will do all the sorting. You don't have to do anything except hand the envelopes out and collect the envelopes. And that's how I started with that whole process of doing it that way. And he said, sure, I'll do that. He did it with his choir, I think either the choir or the band, not the whole music program that year. And after the fundraiser, they did just over 3,000. That was the biggest show. I mean, I was like, 3,000. I've never seen that number before. I had done $1,000 shows, but I had never done a $2,000 show, and I did a $3,000 show. So it was a pretty nice deal, and that was kind of the wake up call for me. It was like, well, this is where it's at. I need to do more of this. And the only mistake I made on that one, which is pretty good for the first one, is that I had it all shipped to my house so that I could sort it at my leisure and bring it to them. Yeah, my pickup truck was barely big enough for all of those. It was 20 boxes, and it took over my entire living room, and I was tripping over stuff, you know, and then it filled up my entire truck. So I had to then load it into my truck, load it out of my truck at the school. It's like, okay, next time I'm shipping it to the school and sorting it there. So you learn from your mistakes. So you will make them. It's okay. We all do. I still make them. Not, you know, as big as having it shipped to my house. Can you imagine that $9,000 fundraiser shipped to my house? Not so good. Karen, on the ones you've done, any words of wisdom?
Follow up. Okay,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come up here.
Front.
up there.
There you go.
Okay, so the one that I did at Kinnick Elementary, okay, my shoe-in was a friend, had a daughter there in 5th grade, and they were planning their trip to Homer, Seward, wherever, okay. So trying to raise money, So that was my shoe-in. There was 3 or 4 different 5th grade classes, and they all competed for an ice cream party. So that was my special thing, you know, whose ever class does the most gets an ice cream party, not a problem. Root beer float is cheap. And after I did it, it was great, it was successful. But after that year, my friend's daughter moved on to middle school. I did not have a connection there. This was not put, there was no PTA connection. I thought I had a connection with some of the teachers, but apparently they lost my name and number. I did not follow up, okay? And that's the key there. I did not follow up. Somebody was approached by another consultant, and that other consultant did the next year's fundraiser, so I lost out. So you need to follow up. If you want it to repeat, you have to follow up.
Very
So
good.
there's my words of wisdom.
That's good words of wisdom. Yeah, I wouldn't have repeat fundraisers if I didn't follow up with them and ask them every year. I mean, even the ones I've done for 6 or 7 years. The music program one, I think I would, because he always tells me, okay, I want to do this again, you know, sign me up. But most of them, I mean, if you don't follow up, especially in any organization, you know, the coaches for the teams, they change. You know, their kid moves to another level, it's a new coach. New set of parents running the organization. That cycles every year. So if you're not constantly following up, you're going to lose out. Same with the teachers in the schools. I mean, you may think the teacher gets in a job and they stay there and never leave. That doesn't happen, you know. That cycles. So you've got to constantly follow up. Yeah.
Well, you might follow up with a couple of the parents too, because this year I had parents split off, and I did a smaller fundraiser with another parent on a different team than the one that I normally do. And by the time I called this one that was the repeat, she's, you know, I called her and left her a message, and she called me back and says, I was just getting ready to call you because I know we're ready to do this, you know. So if they know you, they will repeat too.
Yeah, I mean, you build that relationship with them just like any other host out there. You should be building that relationship with them, because you don't want those hosts to go to somebody else. So you want them to repeat with you. Rebecca, anything from your fundraiser you want to share that hasn't been shared yet, or?
Pretty much everything that everybody else has said.
I didn't talk about entering those big shows into Pampered Partner, other than entering as a fundraiser versus a cooking show. The one thing that I know Heather does it, and I do it, is when you've got that big show. So this says, you know, William Smith on it. Okay, so William Smith got these orders. I'm going to pull out those order forms. There's an order from Jen Soto. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for ordering.
You're welcome.
I actually did have a Pampered Chef consultant order on my fundraiser because it was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And she wanted to support it. I was like, seriously, you're ordering stuff for me? Why don't you just give them $10? You know? Yeah. All right, I'll take your order. So I will put in the order as Jennifer Soto / Smith, or W. Smith if there's more than one Smith. I think you do it different. Don't you put the last name as the student name? You put like Jen Soto in the first name?
No,
No? Okay,
same one.
same way I do it.
I put the kid's name as the second address,
Yep, and I've
second
done
line
that.
on the address.
But why I changed that was because the only way then to access that is to pull up all those
I
order
was gonna
forms.
say that doesn't show up on
So
the
it
package.
doesn't show up on the packing slips. And
Oh,
the first time I did
yeah.
that,
Well, they
that
changed
big
that.
one,
Because it's been a while since I did a really
it's
big
never
one.
showed up on it.
Well, but they started doing these packing slips since the last time I
Oh,
did
yeah,
a really big
So
fundraiser.
yeah, so you'd have to print
Wow.
out all of the receipts off of the thing, and you don't have to give them those receipts. They've got their packing slip. If they want a receipt that shows the amount, they'll call you and ask for it, and you can send it to them.
You can email
But
it.
I mean, I don't want to print out, 200 receipts. And so if you just put their name down in that second line, which I thought was a brilliant idea, you put it there, it's great. It doesn't show up on that packing slip. So that first time I did that was the last time I did that with those. And then, so I had all of these forms, and I think you helped me with one of those. And we had to match it up. So it was like, okay, this one's for Judy McKinley. You find her slip. Okay, here we go. That one goes to this kid, and it was a nightmare. Yep.
So you
So
put the
you make
kid's
that
name
mistake
in the
once.
second.
So I would put Jennifer as the first name, Soto as the last name, /
Smith.
Smith, kid's name.
There's 16 you
That
can have
doesn't
16
show.
you can have 16
What's
letters
that?
in the last
That
name.
shows.
That does show.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you
Yeah,
put
the
it in
name,
that-
want it
the
to
guest,
show, right.
the guest name shows, you want it to show, because when I go to sort that out and help them sort it out,
So you know
it
which kid it
is
is.
way easier to know, okay, this one's Smith, and I put in the whole pile of Smith is over here, and the whole pile of, and then you get that last name that's got like 40 letters in it. You just put the number of letters that fit, and you're gonna be able to figure it out, because, I mean, if you need to, you can put that name somewhere else. Typically, that last name probably ordered as well, and so you've got it in, the full last name somewhere in there. But so if it doesn't fit, it's not a big deal. I just put however many letters fit, and then it works from there. But it makes it way easier to sort everything if you have that name on it.
People making payments on a fundraiser, do they make it to the organization?
No,
To you?
they make just like a regular cooking show. With the schools, I do have them make the check payable to me rather than to the school, because it's a nightmare for the schools to have to process that. And if you make it a nightmare for them,
They're
they're
not
not
gonna
gonna repeat. And I would rather take that nightmare on myself. It is a little bit of a nightmare. I highly encourage the online for that reason too, because then you're getting all the credit card payments and it's quick and easy.
You can wait to submit the show till you have the payments cleared.
So,
Oh, yeah, you should be anyway.
Yeah.
I have one more comment about those online shows, on the
So we're moving
online
on.
orders, make sure that you're calling these guests if they're eligible for that guest special.
Yeah, cause they don't
there's-
usually.
Oh,
put
but
on
they
there.
just updated P3 and
And
there's a little
yes.
triangle symbol. if
And
it-
then the second thing is that you don't know which student they're ordering under, usually
Yeah.
either.
And I am changing that in my letter to, on the online thing, to
Put it in the
actually- 'cause
second
I
line.
think you put that in yours, don't you? I think I
Let's
saw
see
your
it.
letter, where you put in the directions when they order online, you put
Yes.
the kid's name, and
The
I
kid's
have not
name.
been doing that.
Isn't there a
but-
comment section?
But it gives me an opportunity, no, there's nowhere to put it.
Just put it, that's where you can put it in the
gives
second
me
line
an
or
opportunity
to call
to
them.
contact them. And I typically, because I'm doing this work at, midnight to 2 a.m. or whatever when I'm doing the inputting, I will typically just go through and shoot them an email. Their email's on there, it's an
I do
online
that
order.
too.
So I shoot them an email, I said, hey, thank you very much for supporting the fundraiser for blah, blah, blah. Could you please, send me a quick note with which student you're supporting so I can make sure they get
That's
credit for the order. And that, you can have that cut and paste and zip it on there if you want. But then you're making contact with them, you're thanking them for their order, and they're more likely to order from you again too. And I usually say something like, if you need anything else, or, feel free to contact me anytime, something like that. Anything else before we wrap it up? Yes.
Can you just clarify really quick?
No.
I misunderstood, because there is no comment section when you place an order online. Where do you have them put the child's name?
Did you hear me say no? I answered you, I was not In gonna the last answer your name. question.
In the
so
last name
let's go
column,
to
okay,
that.
sorry. Something else going on, okay.
She's still never even heard any of that. did she?
She's ignoring you.
Yeah.
No, because she answered my question, not you.
Ooh, are you videotaping that?
Wow! Edit.
Any other questions? No? Okay, well that concludes the fundraiser. Thank you. Oh, and then the really good news is my husband got the key out of the ignition. It's not started, but he